What's good, YouTube? I'm just going to launch Facebook. I'll explain what happened real quick, and then I'm probably not going to stay too long. I appreciate everybody joining again, and I apologize for cutting the stream. If you're watching this one and it's the first one you've watched, I would say go check part 1. It's on Facebook and YouTube. I'll wait for people to get in, and then I'll try to finish my segment and let you guys know what happened. So thank you guys for joining again. Let's see who we got. Robert, Heather, Demon Slayer, Masha, what's going on? Diane, David, what's going on? All right. Audio is shuddering again. I'll plug it in further, but if that's what it is, that's what it is. I apologize. What's up, Ada? Give me a thumbs up if the audio is good on YouTube. And I apologize, I have to do this every time. I don't know. It's a brand new microphone. I'll buy another one if this keeps happening. Pennsylvania in the house. Loken, Days, Chad, what's going on? All right, I mean, most people are pretty much coming back, so I'll just let y'all know what happened real quick, and then we'll keep it moving. I'll try to get through it, and then it's over. So it wasn't Facebook, it wasn't YouTube. I didn't get cut off. I'm not afraid to talk about this. They didn't cut my feed. I just got exhausted. I can't really fully explain it. And it has nothing to do with the information. It's not like being afraid to say what I was reading. I'm not afraid of this stuff. It's just like I literally just, for the first time probably ever live streaming, I just straight up got overwhelmed and had to cancel it. I think I've been working too much, to be honest. I used to take Saturday and Sunday off, definitely Sunday off. I haven't really taken a break in all year, really. I mean, you know, I guess a few days I went on a little mini vacation with my friend when he visited, but I've been overworking myself. And the other day, I think it was Saturday, I had a debate with High Impact Flicks, which I enjoyed. I thought it was actually great. And I streamed for 4 hours. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever talked for 4 hours, but it's not easy. And, you know, I appreciate what I do. It's not the hardest thing in the world. It's actually way easier than working like a hard labor job. But I guess I just hit a wall. I don't know. My mind just got exhausted. And I was like, I have to go for a walk outside or something, because I just got mentally exhausted. And, you know, I felt this way on Saturday. I did a 4-hour debate. So I'm debating for 4 hours. And then if you guys saw my video in Huntington Beach, I went to a protest. And I was fried, but I still gave the speech. If you guys saw my speech in Huntington Beach, just like 3 or 4 minutes long, I did that after 4 hours of live streaming, and I'm live, and you know, hundreds of people run up to me, taking pictures, talking to me, which is awesome. I love meeting people. I had a great time, but I was like mentally fried that day, and I think I never fully recovered. I'm not blaming that day or anything. It's just like live streaming. I don't know. Sometimes I'm here live for 3 hours and it's fine, but I think just doing so many videos, I'm online doing research. I just hit a wall, and I was like, I need to get outside. And I think, you know, that on topic, to get back to what I'm talking about and just finish the live stream, I think that's happening more and more this year. It's partially my fault. I can't blame the pandemic. I still have a flexible schedule. I can walk outside whenever I want. But a lot of things that I used to do, including the gym right now that's closed for me, you know, they've closed a lot of stuff. So they're kind of forcing people on the computer more. And because I work on the computer, anytime I'm just scrolling on Twitter and Instagram, I'm very rarely ever like chilling, you know? I like to calm down like everyone else, but when I'm on Twitter, it's not like casual. I'm always working. I don't think I've taken a day off in like months, but it's all good. Enough about me, but that's why I closed. I just want to let people know it wasn't YouTube, it wasn't Facebook, it wasn't the information, although they have previously censored me for similar stuff. It was just me. I hit a wall, and I just had to turn it off. I can't even explain it. But what I was talking about, and then I'll go through. I'll answer a few questions. Then I'll probably take off. I'll do a video tomorrow, and then you know, I'll probably take a full day off eventually, because I just haven't done that in probably a year. We talked about COVID-19. Obviously, it's a virus, but they're blaming everything for it. And as it's happening, we talked about, if you haven't seen it, go back to the last one. We talked about the financial aspect of what's going on: lockdowns, quarantine, social isolation, mask mandates, contact tracing. I talked about the 5G rollout of President Trump passing an executive order for that. And I pretty much said everything I could say about 5G, you know, in the last one. So just watch the last video if you haven't. And moving on, the next thing I want to talk about, which I've said in my last 2 videos, is the mRNA vaccines. You know, Operation Warp Speed, and they're rushing them, and, you know, everybody's so excited. But these are brand new. They've never been on the human market. The Pfizer and Mrna vaccine are something that were considered really theoretical and experimental before Mrna really rolled them out. So, you know, I think with this type of stuff. And even Snopes can't disagree with this. I'm reading this right off of Snopes.com. It says, did 4 COVID-19 vaccine trial patients develop Bell palsy? And it said mostly true. So they're having side effects in UK. They're having side effects here. And it's something that, in my opinion, should be, tested longer, especially not just because most vaccines are tested for years, but also because it's a brand new style where it's basically adding a synthetic mRNA to your body. It would be nice if they really looked into it more, but I think Trump, the pharmacy industry, and most countries are just really excited to get this out for a virus that I believe it doesn't justify rushing something this month, let alone a regular vaccine, a basically gene or rather synthetic mRNA vaccine. It's very interesting stuff. And I think because same with the financial collapse, same with the lockdowns, quarantine, social isolations, mask mandate, contact tracing, the 5G rollout, where now we have a communist Chinese style system on the same technology that China used to basically enslave its people. It's the same with these mRNA vaccines. Anything that you see, because the COVID-19 virus is so new, you can't test COVID-19 for long-term side effects because it's not possible, because it's a brand new virus. And you also can't test these mRNA vaccines for long-term side effects because it's a brand new product and it just went on the market. So, I think anything that happens from these, they're going to blame on COVID-19. Anything that happens from lockdowns, COVID-19, quarantines, COVID-19, financial collapse, COVID-19, mask mandates, COVID-19, mRNA vaccines, anything that you see, it's COVID-19. And I think that, that will be where we are at in 10 years. They will never admit to any of this stuff like normal. A lot of times they have a commercial where they admit and you could sue or something, but because of the timing of this and because nobody's, really covers this that much, because if you do cover it, they'll censor your channel, they'll silence you, perhaps worse. And, I think there's so much backlash about it. Facebook, Google, they work with the World Health Organization that's tied into all these companies, that it's almost impossible to talk about or question. So in the future, anything that happens will be COVID-19. And the only reason I think right now with the, that they're admitting that it's causing Bell palsy and certain people, that it's causing effects, even Bill Gates went on television and talked about the effects of Moderna. The only reason they could do that now or they have to do that now, is because it's a no-brainer. If you take it and then it happens, it's obvious. But if it happens in 5 or 10 years, it's not going to be so obvious. They're going to probably say it's COVID-19. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to just rush through the last few real quick, and I'll answer a few questions. Then I'm probably going to take off and take a break. But I talked about it before. The digital learning dominance. Now you basically have people, nurses, doctors, they're not able to work on patients as much. I mean, everything is like shut down. So this is going to affect generations of people being taught. We've already, in my opinion, got kind of dumber over the last couple generations. And in my perspective, a lot of companies have been degrading because instead of keeping a high bar or a high standard, it's like lowering standards. Everything is more about the skin color than content of character, which is a disaster, the opposite of what MLK said. So now you have companies that are just going out of their way to lower the quality just to appease some sort of thing. And the type of people you get with that are just lower quality people, regardless of their sexuality, race, or gender. It's like when you don't make it about the job at hand, if you're a plane craftsman, craft the plane. If it's a black guy, let it be a black guy. If it's an Asian, let it be an Asian. If it's a white guy, let it be a white guy. I think that would make the country better, just content of character over skin color. But what you have now and what you've had in generations, even before COVID-19, is skin color over content of character, sexuality, politics over content of character. So our country's already been degrading, and this is really a knockout blow in some senses, which is making everybody learn online. So this, degrading of a culture that we've already had is now getting to like the final stage where you're not even able to do the job that you're supposed to do. And they're going to qualify people that are not really qualified or not nearly as qualified as past generations. So the digital learning dominance over the physical learning is going to have an impact for generations. The pro is more people are going to homeschool. The pro is now your kids are perhaps not at some Marxist communist college. The cons are what I just said. Small business closures, I don't need to tell you about that. I've made 100 videos on it probably by now. But closing small businesses, allowing Amazon, Facebook, and Google to grow is really gutting our country, and it's going to put a lot of the power into their hands. And I want to read something too, because it's called, I'm going to Google it real quick. I was supposed to have it up, but I guess I closed it when I closed my thing. It's called Jacobson versus Massachusetts, because every time I talk about vaccines, like I talked about, if you really want to catch up on what I'm saying now, watch part 1 of this. I have part 1. Everybody is stuck in Trump world. So it's either like liberals blaming Trump for everything, or it's conservatives defending Trump for everything. And they keep saying anomaly. It doesn't matter with the mRNA vaccines because Trump says it's not going to be mandatory. First of all, Trump has no say. He has no say over states, corporations, schools, any of this stuff. He doesn't want a mask mandate, but there's mask mandates. He didn't want a lot of this, according to you, but in general, he has no say. And this is actually a Supreme Court case. So his lawyer friend Alan Dershowitz has made this point several times. And to be quite frank, Alan Dershowitz is not wrong about this. I don't agree with this court case, but he's right that they have decided in Supreme Court that mandatory vaccinations in certain cases are legal. Here's from, I believe, 1905. It's Jacobson versus Massachusetts. Was a United States Supreme Court case in which the court upheld the authority of states to enforce compulsory vaccination laws. The court's decisions articulated the view that individual liberty is not absolute and is subject to police power of the state. So that's going to come into play next year. They're going to tell you that they have a Supreme Court ruling on forced vaccinations, and they're going to try to use it at states, at corporations. And in some cases, they're probably going to be successful, and others not. But the point being is not, and this is where if you go back to what I was saying, how it's always either you're defending Trump or you're against Trump. They've created a whole world that's either Trump for, against, Mueller report. They're dominating the discussion while they're doing DNA, mRNA, synthetic vaccines, things that are really going to change the human landscape forever, and potentially your human DNA when it comes to CRISPR and other stuff. And no one wants to talk about it because they're more concerned with talking about it in the frame of whether Trump said something. It's like, I don't really care what he said. He doesn't have a say over mandatory vaccinations. And also, just this fact of rushing this is, in my opinion, really a betrayal, because it's not about me. It's not about Trump. It's not about my feelings. It's not about his feelings. It's not about what I say. It's not about what he said. It's about taking a brand new vaccine that is not a normal vaccine, that is injecting synthetic mRNA into the human body, which has never before been released on a human market until, I guess, UK got an emergency trial, and Trump is pushing the FDA to even warp speed it faster past emergency authorization. You're talking about something that's already proven to have side effects. Bill Gates admitted it. Snopes admitted it. People are experiencing symptoms, and you don't know the long-term effects of it. I mean, no one knows. So I get that you think it's okay that millions of people can get it because Trump said you don't have to get it. But in reality, in my opinion, it's about morals. I don't know. It's like if Trump could sell arsenic to the public and be like, well, at least I don't have to get it. Should he be able to sell it and warp speed it when in reality it is going to be forced on you? Like, I already have nurse friends that are like, yeah, and people in school that are like, this is already ruining my life. They're Trump supporters, but this whole shutdown, this whole Operation Warp Speed is ruining their life. So it's like, it's not about whether he said or not. It's about what's going to happen. And in general, it's a big discussion that nobody's really having. But let's move on to the last few, and then I'll answer a few questions that I'm going to take off. The congressional norms, they've completely changed the rules of Congress. Thomas Massey pointed it out, as I've said. They didn't show you who they voted in the dark, basically on the most extreme or most expensive stimulus bill in modern history. And that's the new norm. It's like they don't even have to go into work. Voting and election norms have been changed. As you know, they used this year to do mass mail-in ballots, which has never been done before in the U.S. It's been done on a small scale, not on this scale. Everybody knows about it. Everybody's upset with it. And this was all really done. The trap was set in March, April, May, June, and July when we gave into this narrative and allowed them to do all of the things I just mentioned under the guise of COVID-19, and then the social restructuring of America. They're going to use this to really push their agendas. Like, I saw that even I don't know where it is, but I have the book COVID-19, The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab, and he considers climate change the number one thing. It's in the middle of his web of ideas. And they really tried to do everything that they're doing with COVID-19 now. They tried to do it over the last 30, 40 years with climate change, but they couldn't really get enough of the public to think that all of this is justified, even though a lot of people are supportive of their climate change agenda. And this year basically gave them everything that they couldn't get under the climate change push as far as politically, socially, economically. They did it all this year with COVID-19. So I'm going to read a few comments and questions, and I'm going to take off. But this is really the point of my live stream. And if you want to look at the first half, please go back and watch part 1. I do the first half of it. This is the game that they play. They get conservatives to defend Trump. They get liberals to attack Trump. They get it to be all about Russia collusion or the election or George Floyd or COVID-19. And as they're doing that, human landscape is changing. They completely restructured the financial system. They're doing it with many ways, even with digital currency. There's the Bitcoin aspect of it. There's also, trade deals and such. But what I'm really interested to see how it pans out is, how do these $1 trillion bailouts work? Will this cause massive inflation? Will this crush the United States dollar? Do they have a plan with it? Was it the plan? Was it already going to happen? And did this happen kind of as a ruse to make everybody think that it was COVID-19? Or was it not going to happen? Were we on a good track and they used COVID-19 to basically justify the collapse of it? I don't know. Or are we going to get out of this because fiat money doesn't matter and they're smart enough to manipulate it? I think this is a huge, huge deal that nobody's even weighing in on. And another thing is maybe the housing market as well as inflation. It's like, how is the stock market doing so good? How's the housing market doing so good? Is this a bubble that's just set to explode? I think so, but once again, I'm not a financial expert. Lockdowns, quarantine, social isolation, mask mandates, any negative effects from everything that I just mentioned, which are well known and documented, they will be blamed on COVID-19 this year and into the future. The 5G rollout of America happened, whether they call it a conspiracy theory or not. Trump signed an executive order. He did it. And what I find fascinating is that, everybody talks about the health aspects of it, and then they get kicked off Facebook or YouTube, which I'm not an expert into that. One, I won't talk about it. But two, I do believe that conversation should be had somewhere, a debate, a discussion, because anytime they just censor somebody and say you're crazy, it doesn't necessarily prove their point wrong. It just means I don't want to talk about that. Go into the shadows. So I won't talk about it for multiple reasons. But the main one is I don't know enough about it. And if I know enough about something, I'll tackle it. If I don't, I'd rather not until I know enough about it. But there's other channels talking about that. But I'm concerned with the control aspect of 5G, which is very real. And in China, they use 5G, they use facial technology and social credit scores to control their people. And the 5G rollout was part of their control system plan as well. And as soon as it comes to America, everybody talks about COVID-19. Nobody talks about 5G, which is a real communication system. It's really upgrading. It's really a phone and digital system. And as soon as it comes to America, we get Chinese-style communism. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it was a Trojan horse to control the people and give them some sort of scapegoat to not know it's coming. Mask mandates, obviously, I already mentioned. But anyway, mRNA vaccines, these are brand new vaccines that should be the #1 discussion on every news network, because not only has it never been on the human market, not only is it synthetic mRNA, look up what mRNA is and how it works, but also it's never before has a normal vaccine been rushed this quickly. And this is not just a normal vaccine that they're blasting through emergency authorization over a virus that is not that deadly on a large scale. And in fact, even in Mrna trials, as I mentioned, 185 people in a 30,000 efficacy trial showed symptoms. 185. You have stories of a meat market. Everybody got tested positive for COVID-19. Not a single person even knew it. So is this justified in rushing a vaccine? No, it's not. Is this justified in rushing an mRNA vaccine? No, it's not. Big pharma, I guess, is just going to get their way, and Trump is going to bow down to them, or can't stop them, or doesn't want to stop them, or whatever it is. I don't really know. I don't care. I'm not talking about this in an angle of Trump versus anti-Trump. I'm talking about this is all happening, and no one wants to talk about it because we've been trained to really just talk about this in the WWE landscape. Like Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to sign the stimulus bill. It's like Sweden's to freedom. We need to be like, it's like, this is all a joke. They just constantly, it's like, oh, wow. So Nancy Pelosi won't pass the communist stimulus bill. Yes, people need money, but if you really want to help America, what Trump could have done in April is open the country, or in March and June and July, August, September, October. And I know people think it's up to the states, but if Trump has the power to pass an executive order to take away speech in all 50 states, he doesn't have an authority to enforce the Constitution. Where's Amy Coney Barrett? Where's Brett Kavanaugh? Where is any leader really pointing this stuff out, being like, this is not sustainable? It's almost like they want there to be an implosion, or they have no plan, or what people are hoping for is they have a secret plan. But in general, All of this stuff's happening behind closed doors. Not a single person's really talking about it, which makes me believe that they're just kind of there to distract and run people in circles as they usher in lockdowns, quarantine, social isolation, mask mandates, contact tracing, the 5G rollout of America, mRNA vaccines, digital learning over physical, small business closure, changes in Congress, changes in voting and election, and the social restructuring of America. It's all very interesting. So I'm going to answer a few questions. And the main point is, once again, the media plays this game where even if you're defending yourself from them, very rarely does any type of real conversation be had. For instance, last year, I do the same political stuff as everybody, but also I work in so many stories that you just won't see in the media. Elon Musk and Bill Gates and what they're doing. I did that last year. I talked about weather modification. If you just search weather modification or geoengineering, you can find, even on Wikipedia, they admit that it's happened since 60s and 70s. You can find it on official government websites. I think the NOAA talking about weather modification. You can see New York Times talking about it in Vietnam. This is not a theory. So when they're talking about, forest burning, I just asked the question. I'm like, I'm no science expert, but if you could make it rain like you did in the 60s and 70s, then how is the forest burning? Is there not a way to do that? How come we're not talking about it? It's dumb. It's dumb. It's like Fox News tells you dumb stuff, CNN tells you dumb stuff, and then people fight for like, yeah, I'm smarter because I'm conservative. It's like, yeah, I get it. Liberals don't get anything anymore, but we're not having these deep diving conversations, and they won't allow them. And I actually want to say one more thing real quick that I found recently that I find shocking. If you have any friends, and I have many, that for a while I'm just like, it's not that I don't want to talk about it because I know that it's real. It's just, I get how they work. I get what they try to do. And what I try to do with my reporting is I like to show you, because it's like, obviously I have my opinions, I tell you them, but maybe the reason I've been so effective is because I don't just say things without proof. It's like, I'll show you the article in Reuters that says exactly what I'm saying. So this is NBC News. It says Havana syndrome likely caused by pulse microwave energy government funds. So if you remember, there were US diplomats that got really sick, and they thought that it was some sort of like, microwave energy or something, and they confirmed it. So basically, that's not a conspiracy theory anymore. So any friend you have that tells you about, energy that hurts people, and you go, oh my God, that's so crazy, like you're a lunatic, they could never do that. You have NBC News and apparently the government admitting that their people got a pulsed microwave energy that caused them to get sick. So that type of technology exists. It's in the mainstream news, and not a single person's talking about it. And if you were to talk about it, they would just call you crazy. They'd be like, you're a lunatic. And it's not like I need the government to justify it for me, but I love doing stuff like this, because when I show you, now it's not like Anomaly's just making a claim that he could never back up. It's like, no, it's not even a theory. It's like so mainstream, it's bizarre. So you get what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff that's really going on, and any leader not talking about it is interesting to me. And I think maybe the main point, and then we'll wrap it up, is, media controls people into talking about nothing for 4 years and the peak of human civilization. And also any negative consequence of what's going on in this next year, because COVID-19 rolled out, it is a Trojan horse. Every single thing that I mentioned in this live stream and last live stream, every single thing will get blamed on COVID-19. It's not COVID-19. It's their response to COVID-19, and it's calculated. It's not random. It's calculated. And they planned all this out last year. It's not a theory to say that they had a plan for what happened this year. They broadcasted it on YouTube. World Economic Forum, led by Klaus Schwab, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Johns Hopkins, they broadcasted Event 201. What was Event 201? I don't take my word for it, just watch it. It was, what will we do in the cause of a coronavirus? If there's a coronavirus pandemic, how will we respond? And they mapped out how they would respond. So this year it happened, and they responded exactly like they said it would happen. Was it an overreaction? Absolutely. But this is the point I'm trying to make. It's not an overreaction because they're purposely doing it. They wrote a, people will call me a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I bought Klaus Schwab's book. I'm reading his book. I know what he thinks. He wrote it. You could read it. And I have another book I always talk about. It's called How to Lie with Statistics. I know Bill Gates knows what he's doing because he read a book called How to Lie with Statistics, and he told people to read it. That's going to be my next video. It's like, these people just know people don't read or pay attention to what they say. So when I come and say it or someone else says it, we sound like a lunatic, but it's like, I'm not making this stuff up. If I talk about weather modification, you can go to a government website and they'll admit that they've been doing this since the 70s and 80s. And New York Times used to report on this stuff when it's so basic, but they make it sound nuts. So that's really it. Now we're going to get to questions. These are all the things that are happening besides COVID-19, and nobody's reporting on it. No one's going to get to the bottom of it, most likely, hopefully. And in the future, in the next 2 years and 5 years, when all the negative health and financial consequences come from what they did, they're going to blame COVID-19. And Trump's going to say, China, it was the China virus. And then the Democrats are going to say, it's Trump. It's the Trump virus. And the truth is, it's not China. It's not Trump. It's not Democrats. It's your own government, your own media, your own politicians, your own health experts, your own health agencies. That's who did this to you. Not China, not Democrats, not Trump, not Pelosi. It's your own people. All of them. They all did it. It's just a WWE circus. So they go back and forth blaming people who have some sort of plot in it, of course, but they're all in on it because they're not talking about anything. They're all just rolling this stuff out, running people in circles, and pretty much everyone takes the bait. So if you don't, you sound like a lunatic, or they call you hateful or whatever, but whatever. All right, I'll read a few comments. Thank you guys for rejoining me. I appreciate it. We have lower numbers to be expected, but go back and watch the other video as well, the part 1. I apologize. I hit a wall. I can't even explain it. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm happy, but too much work. I've been doing too much work. So I was like, I need to go for a walk. I haven't been outside today. Let me see. Anomaly, there won't be the same system in place as the mystery of godliness. They are seizing the world. Well, absolutely. And that's kind of my, I've taken a lot of heat for it this year, but I just don't really care that much. Although Twitter annoys me, that's why I got to stay off. But in general, I don't say this stuff to blame Trump for everything. I say it as a point of like, you're gonna like wait for Trump to do something, or you're gonna make excuses for him, and reality is gonna set in. And in a situation like this, maybe at this point it's past the point of no return, but time is of the essence. So in March and April, now people say, Anomaly, you have to care about the election as much as I do, or else you're a traitor. And it's like, well, I said this in March, I said this in April, I said this in May, I said this in June, I said this in July. Now it's December, and now I'm the bad guy because now there's another narrative to throw people in circles for a month. Well, the election, well, the George Floyd, well, the election, well, the COVID. It's like there's always going to be a story. I cover them sometimes, but to be quite frank, I'm just not interested because now people are going to run in circles for 3 months. And as soon as whatever happens in January, whether Trump pulls it out, then there's going to be riots, and that's going to be the story. Or Joe Biden steals it, and then that's going to be the story. So there's never really a time to report on this stuff because there's always just another sneaky story. Let's read some comments. And I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for allowing me to do this. It's really my own fault for hitting a wall before. I just need to take more, breaks. Do I think the vaccine was ready years ago and not just 8 months? That's a good question. Well, Trump started working with Mrna in January. So before the pandemic, you had a lot of this stuff going on. I'm sure they were working on it before then, but to me, I think they're rushing it. Like my theory personally is not like, oh, they've been working on it, it's ready, it's effective. Like I think maybe the best analogy is, if you don't drain the swamp, they never stop. It's like somebody who's just doing evil stuff all the time and they never get held accountable. So I think the reason that people really like Trump was he said he was going to drain the swamp. He was an outsider. I'm going to stand up to the intelligence communities. No one's ever even said that. So just the fact that Trump said that makes him, better, or at least more interesting and more believable than anyone else. So, he went in there to drain the swamp. And I understand it's a difficult thing to do. I don't sit there and say, oh my God, it's all your fault. But at the same time, the truth is, no matter how much I like Trump or not, if you don't drain the swamp drains you. Hillary didn't got locked up. We got locked up. So, Trump failed to do anything, and we are suffering the consequences for it. He decided to, side with Pfizer in 2016 and 2017 instead of RFK Jr., and the plot was really, lost then probably. He replaced the FBI and the CIA director, and they didn't do anything. I'm not saying I could have done a better job, but the truth is, it's like, if no one gets held accountable, Fauci, anybody in the government that's involved with any sort of pharmaceuticals, why would they ever stop? You had Purdue Pharmacy. I think he got in trouble, but did he really get in trouble? Like, will he go to prison? You would go to prison if you even had too many drugs in your hand, but he probably won't go to prison. He'll probably just pay a fine. But is it a big deal? Probably not, because he has so much money anyway. So it's like, you get what I'm saying? I'm not blaming him, but it's like, the truth of it is, no matter how much you love Trump, if no one gets held accountable for anything they've done, they'll never stop. And people are they want to make excuses for him this year, but it's like, if no one gets held accountable for what happened this year, that's not good for the country. And I think people aren't going to realize that till it's too late. So it's not like, and I'll say this too real quick, because I found it interesting. And I think this explains the point I've been trying to make and maybe failing to do so in some cases. RFK Jr., he sued Trump multiple times for property stuff. He sued President Trump. So not only has he not always got along with Trump, he sued him in court. And Trump still picked up the phone and called RFK Jr. and said, I want to meet with you and talk about vaccines. That shows you the type of person Trump is. Trump is a businessman. Trump doesn't have hard feelings. He doesn't like the media. He doesn't like enemies, but he understands how business works. So he respects RFK Jr., even though RFK sued him. So when I say stand up to Trump, everybody thinks it's unloyal. But if you're just a peon who says, I agree with everything he says, you get nothing out of it. It's okay to stand up to Trump. He respects that. That's how you get something. So we, the people, should have been standing up to Trump for the last 2 years, but no one wants to do it because everyone's got a theory of why he's going to do it anyway. It's like, he's not. He's not Jesus Christ. You might have to lobby him with your power. But the Trump movement is so complacent with everything he's not doing, you don't get anything. But I think it's a good example of, like, RFK sued him and he still wanted to work with him. That shows Trump is not an egotistical diva all the time. It's like, he's down to the business. If you're the best guy at the job, let's do it. So I think people need to learn that. It's like, the fact that they got so obsessed with him that they won't even call any of this stuff out, you're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting your own country. It's okay to stand up for him, and he's not going to cry about it. He's a hard-nosed businessman. He'll understand, and he'll be like, listen, maybe he wants leverage. Maybe he's out-leveraged by big pharma, and if millions of people stood up to him, he'd be like, I have to do it. It's like, when we use our power to make excuses for tyranny, it's our fault more than his. Scott Carpenter said, time to join your local GOP and fight for what's right. We need to fight against vaccines, lockdowns, mask mandates. I'm going to be updating on my website, exposedlockdowns.com. I'm talking to Ian Smith next week. I'm going to have him on my Instagram, I think. And then he's making a website on this stuff. I'm going to update exposedlockdowns.com. Right now, it just says the packet. Hopefully by next week or in 2 weeks, it's going to have multiple links for business owners, for citizens to know your rights, know the Constitution, know how to operate if you do keep your business open. I'm going to make sure that information's easier. And Ian Smith is doing that as well. But we're going to link up, and I'm going to link to his website and other websites so people have the resources to figure out how to fight this. That's what I'm doing next week. Let's see. Derek said, peace, black pillars. Well, here's the thing, and I'm glad you said that, because this has been one of the biggest criticisms I've got is anytime I say any of this stuff. If you could feel my energy now, I'm not pessimistic. I don't. I would say we have a good time. I'm a little tired today, but it's not a black pill. People build a false reality, and then if I just say I don't agree with it, they call it a black pill. And if you guys don't know what black pill means, it means being a doomer. Like, it's all over, I give up, it's a black pill. Red pill, I like Trump. White pill, the world's going to succeed. Black pill, it's all over. It's just a saying people have. It's not a black pill. It's like, when I say stand up for yourself, that's a black pill. When I say we the people should hold Trump accountable, that's a black pill. You create a false reality and you think it's equivalent to a white pill of like, I'm going to sit on my butt and ignore reality and wait for Trump to do everything. And then if somebody questions it, you accuse them of being a doomer and a gloomer. I have not doomed and gloomed this whole year. I'm just telling it how it is. So it's like, if you perceive, a false reality as a white pill, and then you're disappointed in 3 months, this has been the story of this year. Someone said, I'm with Jesus. I think that's the right answer. But, I've had people apologize to me now, which I appreciate, because in March and April, I wasn't dooming and glooming. I told people, don't be scared, be prepared. But I gave people like a couple weeks in advance before the government shut down because I saw this all coming. And I'm not saying I could see everything, but it's like, I'm not saying you don't get a bonus point for saying, oh, the government's not going to lock down. That's not a white pill. That just means you're wrong. So it's the same with the biggest criticism I got this year has not even been from liberals. It's been from right-wing theorists who theorized that Trump was shutting down the government to arrest John Podesta and Ellen and Chrissy Teigen and all of their enemies in the Vatican, and Italy was locked down because they're arresting the Pope, and Trump has this secret scheme to get everybody. So it's like, that's not a white pill. It's not a white pill hallucinating that this lockdown is a secret Trump scheme when it's really a global operation that's been planned for a long time. That's obvious. You get what I'm saying? It's like you accuse me of being a doomer and a gloomer. You're just a liar. That's all you are. It's not like I'm the bad guy because I tell people the truth. You know how many people have been like you and just said, oh, well, this is a secret thing to do that. Like, that's not the white. That's, you build a fake reality. You sheep herd millions of people into being complacent. You lie to millions of people. You're constantly wrong. You never apologize. And then you switch to the next theory. Do you know how many people have shamelessly lied to the American people for the last 2 years? And now they're telling me Operation Warp Speed is a secret Trump way to get the military to arrest Big Pharma? Dream on. That's not the white pill. You're a liar. Could that happen? Maybe there's like a 0.005% chance, but no, for the most part, they're already on the markets in the UK. They're going to be on the markets here. You could fathom all these things, but it's like, that's not the white pill. That's a lie. It's like, and then people say, Anomaly, you have an ego. You don't like to be criticized. I like good criticism, but if you're wrong, I'm not going to just like bow down to you and be like, oh yeah, the best way to have hope is to just sit there and expect Bill Barr to save you. It's like, that's really dumb. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with ego. And people make fun of my appearance all the time. I find it hilarious. If it's funny, if it's stupid, it's stupid. But if someone makes a funny comment, I'm not this person. It's like, oh, don't make fun of me. It's like, no, I find it very funny. If you're funny, if you're not funny, you're not funny. Like, I'm not here to lie to you on Twitter and say you're really funny if you're not funny. Like, no, get a better joke and come back and we'll laugh at it. But, I'm tired of people thinking they have a monopoly on hope. And this is the main criticism I've gotten all year is you're a doomer. You're a black pillar. Meanwhile, almost everything, you could look at my March, April, May. Obviously, I make mistakes, but all my reporting stands up now. And go back to all these people calling me a black pillar. Go back to their reporting. It's either non-existent or they were wrong all year. They switched their theory every other month. They're like a time traveler. They're like, well, the lockdown wasn't a secret plan, but the secret plan's going to come. It's like, no, you're not. You don't have a monopoly on hope. We have hope. We believe in ourselves. And the truth is, this year was crazy. And next year is probably going to be crazy, but there's a way around it with your mindset, with your family, with the Lord. It's all good. But I'm not going to sit and act like it's not happening. To me, that's not hope. That's just like delusional. Kevin said you're goofy looking. I mean, that's not the best diss, but it's fine. You can say I'm goofy looking. Some women say I'm beautiful. Some women think I'm ugly. It's okay. But you're a guy, so I'm not really interested in guys. So I don't really care what you say, but I appreciate the criticism. I can be a little goofy. Mary said, do you know about United Nations Agenda 21, 2030 and how core of the Great Reset? Yes, I think it's the same thing. I think it's, Agenda 21 or Agenda 30, whatever they call it. I think, the Great Reset, it's all the same. It's all the same sort of thing. They pretty much waited till 2020 and it all went down. Someone said, a lot of what you say, I do not agree, but I listen to the most. Well, I appreciate that, Carl. God bless you. It reminded me of my liberal friend. I had this liberal friend and he told me he hated Jesse Lee Peterson, but he always watched Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm like, you secretly like Jesse Lee Peterson because why would you watch someone you hate? I don't watch people I hate. I mean, I'll get alternate opinions, but it's like, he's like, I hate Jesse, but I can't keep my eyes off. I'm like, because Jesse's telling you you're a beta and you need to hear it from somebody. You want to hear like the father figure call you a beta. So I feel like it's similar. Man, I'm not saying you hate me, Carl. Clearly you don't hate me, but it's like, you don't like what I say or you don't agree with it, but you're here. I don't know. That means you're a strong guy, Carl. That means that you're willing to go across the aisle. I appreciate it. Aquarius Queen said you're a cutie. Well, thank you. I'm a goofy. Said, what was his name? I forget. Do you think a one world order is coming? Well, here's the interesting part. I find it very, very interesting that a lot of Christians love the Q stuff, and a lot of Christians love Trump. But if you really read the Bible, and I'm not blaming Q or Trump, but if you read the Bible, it says that a one world government's inevitable. In fact, it's like the natural sequence that's eventually going to happen. I don't know when that is. So many Christians are fighting it, so hard. And as I think you should, as a human, you shouldn't just bow down to a one world government. But this shouldn't be too shocking to people considering it's written in Revelation. So do I think it's going to happen? Eventually, yeah. And I think in a sense, it already has happened. I think if you look at even before this year, if you're a country like Saddam Hussein or Muammar Gaddafi, and you don't play along with, the United States of Israel and Saudi Arabia, they don't allow you to really do it that long. So I think we've kind of had a one world government that's been compartmentalizing for a long time. And I think this seems like a point where they're almost going to, I hope we can avoid it. And maybe that could happen in 100 years or something, but it would not shock me. And that's where I'm coming to, I want to be the best American I could be. I want to be the best person I could be. I want to fight for my people. I want to fight for my freedom. But at a certain point, it's like, I'm getting frustrated because I realize a lot of people don't realize what's going on. Like, there's certain things, if I say I'm going to lose 90, and I say it all the time. I'm not saying I cover it up. I'm just like, I say these things, and 90% of people watching don't want to hear it. And 90% of the Trump movement don't want to hear it. And then I say the truth, and 99% of liberals don't want to hear it. So you kind of come to the reality of you can only do so much as one person. You could help inspire, even Trump, he can only do so much. I think for a moment there, he was getting a lot of wins. And then this year, the medical, movement kind of seemed like it knocked him aside a little bit. But the point I'm getting to is at a certain point, the writing on the wall seems pretty clear to me. I think, I don't know. I think that next year is a wild card. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm trying to work as hard as I can to do what's right, but at the same time, not live in this state of constantly being frustrated and annoyed and in denial, because, that's no way to live. I think at a certain point, you have to work hard, but be content with the way things are, appreciate your blessings. And, that's what I'm working on. Cause it's maybe this is the point where the one world government happens and the United States people were just not ready for it. I think there's so many tricks that have been had that, I feel like this year was not promising in a way. In some ways it was exposing a lot. In other ways, I think we got very duped, the human race. So we'll see what happens. What do I think about the Chinese troops training up here in Canada right now? Just a coincidence? Yeah, I didn't fully look into that story. I saw a lot of people say it on Twitter. I'm sure it's not a coincidence. And I think, I don't know how to put this. I'll try to think of how. When the central bank came to America, I think we were on a path to communism. Lenin is famous for saying, I always bring it up because I think it's one of the more fascinating quotes. Let me see. Lenin, central bank quote. Lenin said, the establishment of a central bank is 90% of communizing a nation. So once you give up your money supply and you centralize it, you're pretty much on the path of communism. In World War II, I'm starting to learn and read, I'm reading the Communist Manifesto, I'm reading other perspectives. We fought with the communists in World War II. So the big battle, and it could have just been a banker battle. It could have been controlled op, two sides just killing each other. But, the communist movement was China, was the Soviet Union, and that's who we fought on the side of the Soviet Union in World War II. So after World War II, or during it, I'm not sure the exact time period, the UN was created, or the EU, or whatever they say, the global communists disguising themselves as, liberals saving the world. So we pretty much from that point on, if you look at it, it'll tell you the UN was created with China, Soviet Union. We've been on a path to communism, I think, since then. So I think, I feel like this is all becoming obvious for now, but a lot of conspiracy theorists have been frustrated their whole life. Even me, when I was researching things like 9/11 and things like the Iraq War and, things that are controversial to even talk about. But as a citizen, you could see okay, 9/11 happened and that totally changed the world. So then we did all this stuff. it's the same with COVID-19. It's like, I'm not saying it's not real. 9/11 was real. COVID-19 was real, but the reaction to it seems sketchy. It's like, okay, it was bin Laden, but now we have to go to Syria. Now we have to go to Libya. Now we're in Iraq. It's like, clearly the goal there was not to get bin Laden. The goal was to use bin Laden to do everything that we wanted to do. It's the same with COVID-19. It happened. It's real. I'm not downplaying people who got it and got sick, but they use that to get something else. So once I realized that 10, 20 years ago, you seem crazy. And if you researched that earlier than other people, you didn't, everyone looked at you like you were crazy because they didn't want to know that there was something else going on. And now I would say this year is the year that every conspiracy theorist is pretty much justified. Everyone that sounded crazy doesn't sound so crazy anymore, or maybe it does, but who cares at this point? So I think this was all in the works for a long, long time. No one nipped it in the bud for a long, long time. People were hoping that Trump would have a counter to it for the last 4 years. And it turned out, at least to this moment, that he hasn't. Can he win the election? Can he, reverse it and drain the swamp? For sure. Do I think he could still win the election? I do. I don't know. I just don't. I can't see Joe Biden in there. I think Trump has actually done a really good job of, trying to legally and mentally get people to, turn the election back. But then it's like, he could save the country. He also could do nothing for 4 years again. He could just like kick the can down the road again, where certain things that need to be done are really hard to do. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I do think this was all happening for way longer than this, and it just became like everything that they wanted to do, they just did it this year. So we'll see. But someone said a lot of people all have at least one conspiracy theory friend that's starting to look like a genius. Well, because it never was a theory. That's the weird part. Like, if I talked about microwave energy, pulsing microwave energy that hurts people, everyone would say I'm a nut. But it's in the mainstream news. NBC News: Havana syndrome likely caused by pulse microwave energy, government finds. All these things that people think are crazy, they've just been brainwashed to just think that it's fake when it's all real. And one of the ways they do that is with the TV and movie industry. So I think a smarter or more aware person watches a movie, understands it's fake, or understands it's fake but based on reality. Someone that's just a culture, caught in the culture, they watch a movie and think that, it's not ever possible. Like, for me, I watch a movie and I feel a few ways, but a lot of people, what I'm starting to realize is the reason they use movies, they put the truth in the movies. They put what they're going to do in the movies 10 years before. They do exactly what they're doing in real life in the movies. And the average person, when they see it, they don't think real life, they think movie. So that's kind of how they get people like, oh, bringing drugs into the US? Oh, that's the Tom Cruise movie. Oh, pandemic, that's the movie. Oh, there's some John Cusack. There's some new John Cusack thing where he's basically some evil scientist and he's got a vaccine that sterilizes the population and they have no fertility. It's right on Twitter now. I think Amazon produced it. So it's like, people look at these things and they're like, whoa, no one could ever do that. Because it's like, you watch Schindler's List and you're like, whoa, that's the movie. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's partially, scripted and they changed the script, but partially they're just kind of like desensitizing you to crazy things that happened or crazy things that have happened. And they can write it in a way where they can kind of make you do certain things. So, it's like they can tell a true story with a different twist, and then people will believe that twist. People ask me if I wanted to watch the Ferrari movie with Ford. I'm sure it was great, and I'm not trying to be a downer, but I don't want to watch it because if I really want to learn about Ford and Ferrari, I'm going to try to find things that they've written. And I have things that Ford has written, interesting stuff. But, it's like, I don't want to see the Leonardo DiCaprio fake movie because then I'm going to walk around the rest of my life thinking I know a lot about Ford. What do I know about Ford? I know the hour and a half that someone scripted about Ford. Is that even going to be 1/1000th of what he done? Probably not. Is it going to be wrong? Probably. So I don't even want it in my head because then I'm going to act like I'm so smart. Like, oh, I know what Ford did. No, you know what that scriptwriter told you that he did. Like the romanticized movie to push an agenda of what they wanted to push. So I don't really watch movies. Like, I know I'm a lame, but I don't like movies. I probably should watch more, I guess, since I'm having like shutdowns when I go live from being on the computer too much. But let's see. Someone said tons of zombie movies. If you want to look at predictive programming or you want to see something interesting, look up. It's called Justin Timberlake Supplies. It was a new video he did with Pharrell last year. It's called Justin Timberlake Supplies. Watch that video and tell me that that's not some sort of script. It's like end of the world, like pyramids, like all sorts of Illuminati style vibes. And at the end, he's like in a desert dead or something. Like it's weird. It's like and there's all clips of like Black Lives Matter stuff. It's like some brainwashing, weirdo brainwashing stuff. Someone said you should start writing books. I'm writing a book. I'm almost finished. And I want to tell you guys too, I'm gonna employ my friend, like my friend I've had since like third grade or fifth grade. He's gonna help me with like because the the Shopify, my store, is a lot more than I thought to handle. I haven't been promoting it this month because it's Christmas season. People are going to want it quickly. And the customer service was more than I thought. So I'm going to employ my friend. He's going to help me a little bit. I'm still going to do a lot, but hopefully I'll have more time and I could do more stuff with some help. You seen the Illuminati card game? Yeah, it's fantastic. Very interesting. Made by Steven Jackson. Off the Robert Anton Wilson book. It's real. I want to get a pair. It's like $300 on Amazon. It's expensive, but I want to get one. Someone said anyone who watches Yuri Bezmenov and doesn't think we're already way past communism needs to watch it. It's a good. That's one of my favorite videos on the internet is Yuri Bezmenov. That guy is like next level. I love it. Someone said the grid is taken down next. I think that's a high possibility. I'm not trying to scare people, but they're the same way they planned Event 201, they are planning some sort of power grid shutdown. Even for me, I'm trying to figure out, what move to make because a lot of my money is digital like everyone else. I don't have physical gold bars or anything. So, yeah, I'm trying to get property next year within the first half of the year. Because I feel like they're planning some sort of grid shutdown. I mean, you can Google. I think it's called Digital Polygon Conference with Klaus Schwab and Equifax and all this stuff. They're planning some sort of hack. So it's interesting. Someone said, "Anomaly, you legend, onward, my friend. Logos rising." Thank you, Andrew. God bless. Logos is rising. All right, we'll read some on Facebook. The Facebook one's always delayed. Someone said my favorite movie of last year is Ford versus Ferrari. I'm sure it's a good movie. I don't like talking about movies because everyone loves movies and I sound like a hater. I just feel like it's gonna undercut like Ford's real legacy and Ferrari's. But I don't know. As long as you watch it and it's just part of the story or some of the story. I find movies so subversive. I don't know. Like people get out and they're like, I watched even certain documentaries like I'm like, I don't know. They got the one on what is it on Netflix? Like they got the one about Cambridge Analytica. Like they're acting like Steve Bannon controls the internet. It's like no, Facebook, Google, they do a lot more than Steve Bannon. Is Cambridge Analytica a data company? Absolutely. Did they do data harvesting or data mining of some sort? I'm sure they did. But is Cambridge Analytica? Like they always. I feel like they false educate people, but. I'm a hater, so don't listen to me. Someone said Trump recognized the Western Sahara as Moroccan ground. Finally, thank you, Trump. Yeah, I saw that. What is Morocco getting along with Israel? Trump does a lot for Israel. That's for sure. He gets a lot done out there. We'll see what happens the next couple months. Someone wrote a comment. I'm not going to read that. It's kind of funny, though. Maybe I will read it. I don't know. Mohammed Hussein said, "You look kind of weird, Anomaly, but in a good way, homie." Well, thank you. I'll take that as an odd compliment. Um, let's read some. Someone said ammo is going to be the new precious metal to have. This is my thought, and once again, I'm one person, so don't take my word for it. But to me, G. Edward Griffin, I had a great conversation with him, and he was like, you should write a book, or he was talking about physical books, and he was like, they could wipe digital stuff out, but physical is forever. So to me, even gold, like I don't even want to own gold because like I'm thinking primal. Bullets are a better precious metal, in my opinion. Are they more expensive? Could you get more with gold? Obviously, but you can use a bullet. Anything that's useful, in my opinion, is the way to go the next couple of years. But once again, I'm young. I don't own that much. I'm not a prime example of like how to prepare something. I'm very unprepared for the most part. I mean, I'm a little prepared, but you get what I'm saying. I'm not trying to give people life advice or anything. I'm just saying I find a bullet way more useful than a block of gold. I find a house way more useful than a stock. I'm in the stock market now, but I'm like, I want to buy something physical because to me, if something goes down digitally, what's a gold bar going to do? You could hit someone in the head with it. Like, who's going to want a gold bar in times of triumph? So I'm looking at food, water, shelter, owning land, things that can't be taken from you digitally. I think that's the future. Or if it's physical, if things are going down, would you rather own a bar of gold or would you rather own bullets? I would say bullets, but a gold might be good for trading, but I do think skills and physical stuff is a good play for the next couple of years. But once again, people ask me for advice. So like, I don't know. Someone's like, Anomaly, what's your parenting advice? I'm like, I'm not a parent, so why would I could fake give advice or something, but the best way to give parental advice is to actually be a parent. So I don't get carried away. Thank you, pancakes and syrup. Someone said you never really own your property. Yeah, I agree with property taxes, but even with the BS property, I'm not. This is where I'm libertarian. I think property taxes are a scam. I think most insurances are a scam. I think plastic bag tax, like we should have had a tea party like 20 years ago, 100 years ago. Most taxes to me are scams, all taxes really. But yeah, it's still better to own property than not own property, even though they still kind of own it. I do find that really annoying. But do I think crypto is a trapdoor for the cyber attack? I don't know. I mean, here's been my thought with crypto the whole time. I look at it as like a gambling opportunity or a stock opportunity to make money. I understand the technology behind it. I understand why people are so gung ho. But to me, yeah, it's just digital. So even if this technology is great, it's still digital. With a digital wipeout, they could wipe out all your money in crypto. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think, to me, I'm not that the digital stuff is not that appealing to me as like a long-term solution. Like this is the future. It's like, to me, nothing digital is that trustworthy. But I get that it could be better than fiat. I just personally look at it as a gambling opportunity more than like a future. But there's people who hate that I said that right now. Trust me. There's Bitcoin fanatics like, Anomaly, you don't understand the blockchain. I get it. I'm skeptical of anything on the grid, and that's could be better than fiat, but I'm not into it that much. Let me see. Hey, just wondering, Tuck said, wondering what your habits are when it comes to music production and songwriting. What software do you use? I used to use Logic, but I don't have Logic anymore because it's too big for my computer. I have Final Cut. So I use GarageBand because I just record it and I usually send it off. So I don't really mix and master. I don't produce. I just record the raw audio and send it to someone else. But when I used to mix more and do stuff, I would use Logic. But I'm not good at mixing and mastering. Songwriting, I just write my own stuff. That's easy. Someone said, KUS said, sup, man, I was in the live chat for High Impact stream. You did really well. Thank you, KUS. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. It was long, it was grueling, but I actually really enjoyed it. Like people were like, Anomaly's getting sad. I was like, I had a smile on my face. I like a good debate discussion. So thank you for being there. And I enjoyed it for what it's worth. Someone said Klaus Schwab has indeed mentioned and talked about the next big attack with the cyber attack. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Take a look at it. Someone said LMAO, I don't have Logic anymore. It was too big of a file. I had to delete it because I have so much going on my computer. I had to, like, Final Cut takes up a lot of space, so I couldn't do Logic and Final Cut. Thanks for rejoining me too. I apologize for the double stream thing, but I'm glad I came back. It's never happened. I just was like, man, I'm exhausted, but I have a little energy now. I'll stay for like 10, 20 minutes. I found you because of the debate. Yeah, it ended up being a big debate. I knew a little bit about High Impact before that. I've seen his stuff on BitChute, and I thought we were going to get along better because I felt like he was right wing, but he knew that the two-party trap was like, not enough, and it was a joke. So I thought we were going to get along. Didn't turn out to be the case, but overall, I think massively productive, interesting. When you have it, this is where I think I've been pretty good at so far. When you have two different ideas, like me and High Impact Flicks or me and Young Pharaoh or whoever, you really put your ideas to the test. When I'm just talking to myself, you guys, I answer questions. So in some sense I do, but you're not really here to counter me in the physical. So, it's easy to talk to yourself. Sometimes it's actually can be difficult, but when it comes to when you're smart and somebody else smart goes against you and you're putting your ideas to the test, it's a lot more difficult, and I enjoy it. Personally, I think I'm almost undefeated, but in general, it's like, it reveals a lot. It's very revealing when you get challenged. So it's like a good boxing match. If you have a weakness, it really gets exposed when you're up against a good opponent. So I find it very fun, and I think I'm well suited for it, but to each their own. ZM said, I'm a chem engineer, so I look at finance economics from a mass energy balance perspective. Economists look at it from a BS perspective. I can give a simplified rundown on the topic. I think it would be interesting for listeners. Well, that's interesting, ZM. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have a channel or something? You can let me know, or if you want to do like a live stream. I don't do that many live streams with people unless it's like a debate or Instagram sometimes. So I don't know how to do that. But if you have a channel or a video, I'll check it out. Kevin said I'm drunk. All right, well, good to know. Someone said E. Michael Jones, check him out. Yeah, I've checked E. Michael Jones out. I have a few of his books too, but he debated someone yesterday, I think. I didn't see it yet, but I like when he has good debates. I love debates. I think it's interesting when two people that are pretty smart go up against each other. But ZM said I'll make a vid. Yeah, just send me the video. Just email it to me or something. Do you find that the energy from your phone zaps you, energy zap, after extended time? I've never noticed that. Sometimes I have my phone in my pocket and it like I feel like it vibrates and it doesn't vibrate. That happens a lot, but I don't know if that's energy or that's just like, sometimes the phone's not even in my pocket and I feel that way. So I don't know if that's like conditioning from phone, like vibration or something. I don't know. Someone said that's a backhanded compliment, LOL. I don't know if that, if you're talking to me or the other person, but not intended. Someone said, why won't you acknowledge gematria effect news? I'm not familiar with them. I've seen a few comments, but I'm acknowledging it now. I mean, I'll check it out. So the reason I haven't read it is because I think the comments that I've read so far, first of all, I'm on 2 different platforms with thousands of people between the 2. But, it's kind of the attitude. It's like, you won't debate him. You won't ever touch that. So I think it's that energy that makes me just not want to answer you. But as far as I'm not familiar with it, I'll check it out. And if we have some disagreements, I have no idea yet because I haven't even seen their videos. I'd be open to debate or discuss. I'm not that familiar with it. So I'll check it out since you guys have definitely made it a point. Someone said, do you watch Nick Fuentes? I haven't seen his videos in a while, but I've definitely seen some of his videos, and I find it interesting that in this year he's had a big come up through the election, fighting for Trump, and I think how Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro tried to treat Nick Fuentes last year was a joke. I mean, I think it was a very, very revealing year last year when Trump passed the executive order for anti-Semitism. You had everybody blaming Ilhan Omar, and they used the Ilhan Omar kind of like COVID as a smokescreen to pass forward what I would consider anti-First Amendment legislation, and then you had everyone blame Nick. I found that very revealing. That's when I realized, before this year, I realized that the Republican Party can be sneaky. I mean, I always knew this with George Bush and stuff, but it's like they're sneaky too. You know, they play off of your emotions of being a patriot and having certain feelings, and they use it to kind of, you know, censor that. That's why I can't, no offense, but I can't take that many conservatives seriously, because they tell, like, a lot of them make a living telling you that they're pro First Amendment, they're against cancel culture, they're fighting on college campuses. But really, if you read Trump's executive order, it's an anti-First Amendment bill meant to have more cancel culture on college campus. And this is this fundamental thing that I keep running into with a lot of Republicans, is like, you can't get free speech back unless you demand it. You can't have free speech unless you get rid of cancel culture. Their mouth says, I'm getting rid of cancel culture, and then they pass bills and executive orders to add more cancel culture. It's like, I find it so shocking, because it's like, well, it's the same logic as the left. Like, they think it's racist to say China virus. They think it's racist to talk about Muslims or whatever. And then it's the same with the Republicans have a massive blind spot. They think it's anti-Semitic to talk about Israel or anything Jewish. So it's like, it's the two-party trap of they're both selling out free speech, and this is not American. And then, you know, they try to frame it as you're like, you hate people if you want free speech. The same the left. Oh, if you want to talk about crime statistics, you're a racist. If you want to have free speech, you're an anti-Semite. It's the same thing on the left and the right, but people can't see it because they're so emotionally attached to these like false idols and phony leaders and stuff. I don't know. I find it very intriguing, but I noticed that last year. I was like, wow, apparently authentic free speech is not going to be that popular on this side, but whatever. The Seeker 2020 said, I'm with Trump, but I'm suspicious of the vax as you. I tried to talk to Trump show Brian Craig, but he wasn't having it, defended saying news is wrong. Well, that's the problem with the vaccine discussion. Like, what I want to talk about, Trump or no Trump, I want to talk about the mRNA. I want to talk about how fast it's been done. I don't care who did it, but this is how they trap the left and the right. The left literally just lies. You can't try to please them because they're such liars. You did it. You didn't do it. You rushed it. It's too late. All they do is lie. I just ignore them. That's why they don't bother me. I just act like it's not even happening, because there's no point in playing in their game. But then it comes to the right wing. You have conservative people saying Operation Warp Speed is a huge success. They're saying, yes, we rushed it. We beat Cuomo. We beat Ilhan Omar. That's how they get you. They get you fighting these people instead of looking at morals and principles. So yeah, I mean, it's okay to like the president and not agree with that, but so many people, their whole career is just based off of like playing in the circus. And I think this year really exposed a lot of people in the sense of like, who's really useful, who's really honest. The same way with a debate. If you debate somebody, your ideas are put to the test. You know, it's easy to say things when you're not challenged. So same way as a debate, this year was like a huge expose of like, who's really useful, who can really fight communism, who's ready to dive deep and get to the root of the issues, and who just wants to debate 18-year-old liberals on college campus and act like they're so smart. It's like, you're 30 years old. You should be able to debate at 18. I find that so funny. And people love those videos. People love the videos of the 18-year-old liberal getting owned by like the 26-year-old guy. To me, I'm just like, it's such a low-hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? Like, when communism came to America, these people who do low-hanging fruit content, they're like useless. They're like, how do I look? Like, it's like, to me, I don't find that interesting. But I don't like to sound like a hater, but it's just how I feel as a content watcher. I don't watch people like that. I find it very boring, and I find them like a one-trick pony. It's like when communism comes, they have no answer for it. They just say the same things on loop, like a pull string doll. It's like, well, socialism sucks. Well, capitalism's great. Well, it's like, okay, yeah, socialism sucks. I agree. Keith Bridges, you're gonna love it. Check out that video. I'll check it out, Keith. Oh, it's your video. You're self-promoting. All right, I'll try to look it up. Someone said Texas is kicking ass. Yeah, Texas is coming in clutch, I think, for sure, as far as the rest of the country. Someone said Amy Coney Barrett is pro-vax / lockdown, but you like her. We'll see what she's done. I've seen some of her previous rulings. I talked about it on Twitter, how she made the ruling for the lockdown. We'll see what she does when it comes to the vaccine and it comes to the lockdown. When that gets to the Supreme Court, we'll see if she sides with the people or she sides with them. It will be interesting, but Like, do I like her? Do I not like her? It's not really up to me. My opinion doesn't really matter. Like I tweeted about it, but it's like, anomaly, talk about it. It doesn't matter. I tweeted about how she was pro lockdown. Trump still picked her. So you just got to hope that she does the right thing. And she is better at this moment than, what's her name? Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But my opinion of what she will do won't matter. We'll see what happens when that case gets to the Supreme Court. All right, a few more questions and we'll take off. Thank you guys for joining. It's like 110. I'll probably go to 120. That's probably good. Someone said, did you hear about the financial incentives to get the vaccine? Sounds fishy. Yeah, well, this is the problem with Trump and the Democrats just steamrolling this country towards communism. Like, that's what's going on this year. So when you're on welfare, they can, if you don't do this, you don't get the check. So now that they threw both parties, Trump, Pelosi, all of them, they threw the entire country on welfare. So now that's how they can control you. That's the whole reason all these people said socialism sucks, right? Charlie Kirk told you for 3 years, socialism sucks. And then this year, socialism and communism came to the country and they have no answer for you. So it's like a pull string doll. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to hold a paycheck over your head and give it to you if you get the vaccine. But this could have been prevented by not going full communist. But it's been 8 months of like socialism/communism, and there is no real plan to end it. I think people have to realize that eventually. But I could sing till the cows come home. Doesn't mean people are gonna listen. Someone said, what happens first, Civil War or World War III? Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of these are going to be covert for the most part. So I think a lot of that stuff is already happening, but it's happening in a different way because they have so much mental power over people. So I don't know. Someone said, touch on Trump and Moderna if you haven't. Ivanka's tweets. Well, yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Trump was, I think Ivanka said that he signed a deal with Moderna in January before the pandemic. And then he bought this. This is in my last two videos. So just watch my last two videos as far as like the one with Elon Musk on the front and the one with Fauci and Bill Gates on the front. They're on YouTube if they're not on Facebook. I mean, this whole year has been mapped out. So yeah, I don't understand how you can buy, like Trump purchased with the government Pfizer's vaccine and Moderna's vaccine in July and August. How do you purchase a vaccine that's not been fully tested yet? I mean, he's rushing it through. To me, I don't want to talk about it because it just annoys me, but to me, this is like the biggest deal in the country. The two biggest deals, the lockdown and this rushing the mRNA vaccine. And no one seems to care that much. I know you guys do, or some people do, but when I talk about it, I just get yelled at. Anomaly, we have a secret plan. Anomaly, it's not going to be mandatory. Anomaly, this is going to be hard. Anomaly, there's a secret mission with the military. Trump's going to turn the tables. Anomaly, you don't understand. Anomaly. So it's like, why even talk about it? That's what I hear. Every time I talk about it on Twitter, yeah, he's doing and then I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, okay. It's a bad time. This is why I like YouTube. I can make fun of it and have a good time. On Twitter, people just don't laugh as much. So someone said I get the same crap. Wake up, people. Thank you, B. Williams. And now, you don't understand. Trump's not going to make it mandatory. I've heard that a million times. Trump's not going to make it mandatory. It doesn't matter for the millionth time. It doesn't matter what Trump wants or doesn't want. Like what part? Trump doesn't want it. It's like your whole life is Trump. And I'm not knocking you. I like Trump as well. I'm not like saying, oh, my life is, but like you can't even fathom anything outside of the realm of Trump because your whole life is Trump. So everything has to go through the lens of Trump. Well, it's all happening, but Trump said, who cares what Trump said? It's like, at what point do you unplug your head from Trump and like observe the world without thinking about that. It's like hard to get through to people. So it's like, yeah, okay. All right. Well, he said it. So it's like, I've mapped out, I should make a list of every fake theory that people have said all year. My own peers getting mad at me, people that I'm friends with. Anomaly, Trump's fighting. Like, do you know how many people told me Trump was fighting Bill Gates secretly? He's funding Operation Warp Speed to secretly fight Bill Gates. I heard this from like top-notch influencers that are my friends, and I'm like, that's not happening. And they're like, you just don't. And then I get, you just don't know. You're so dumb. You don't get it. You're black pilled. And it's like, no, you're just wrong. Like, why is it always my fault? It's like, you could trace what's happening. Operation Warp Speed is giving billions of dollars to these companies, and then he's buying doses before they're done, and now he's rushing them through trials, because once you spend $10 billion on a product, you're not going to let it go to waste, regardless of how it's working or not. That's what's happening. That's what Operation Warp Speed is. But Trump supporters can't unplug their head from Trump, so it's all my fault. Anomaly, you don't get it. He's fighting Fauci by funding Fauci. He's exposing Fauci by listening to Fauci. He's fighting Bill Gates by funding Bill Gates' favorite companies. He's fighting Fauci by letting Fauci talk to Pence and governors and implement our strategy for 2021. That's like, never mind. Let's calm down. That voice hurts my throat. I gotta stop. Let me get some water. Let's calm down, folks. Someone said he's sitting. I had to sit because I don't know if it was standing, but I got like too much from standing up. I was like, I had to stop the stream. That's never happened. Someone said, damn, you got some lame followers. Hey, Rusty, let's calm down. We got the best followers here, Rusty. Make fun of me. Don't make fun of my followers. We got it all, okay? We got some of these people, some of these people. Some people get it, some people don't. Some people are mad, some people are happy. We got a little bit. We got grandmas, great-grandmas. Don't disrespect my grandmas. We got moms in the house. We got dads. We got granddads. Listen, come at me. Don't come at my people, okay? We're all here trying to figure it out. Night Bandit Rider said, do you think Q was the conservative version of BLM and Antifa to keep us distracted? Honestly, at first, I think it was, I don't know. I think it was waking people up to certain things, but I think it kind of transitioned at a certain point into keeping people complacent, getting people to trust the government, and kind of like giving people the truth and then telling them to trust Bill Barr. So I think at a certain point, the cons outweighed the pros. I think at first it was fine. I was like, whatever. But it became like a religion for certain people. And I think it got them complacent, trusting government, never accepting reality. And I think it's different than BLM, because BLM is weird, but it's more of like, it is in a sense like turning people into the liberal that can't accept reality. It's like, listen, Trump is not that guy that you thought he was. Like, he's not doing these things that you think he's doing. He is doing some things, but we can never talk about what he is or isn't doing, because the liberals aren't based in reality. Their whole life is a lie. So you can't even criticize Trump accurately, because they're in Looney Tune land talking about things that don't matter. I think it put a lot of people in Looney Tune land, where they're like, the watermark ballots is the secret sting operate. There's 20,000 things going on. I just talked about it the whole stream. There's 10,000 things that are real and crazy and conspiratorial that are provable. And everybody gets enthralled with the one thing that literally doesn't matter. And then they tell people to trust Jeff Sessions. When Trump himself doesn't like Jeff Sessions, Trump is like, I don't like Jeff Sessions. They're like, when Trump says he doesn't like Jeff Sessions, look at the capitalizations. He means he likes Jeff Sessions. The reason he's not voting for Jeff Sessions is because he wants Jeff Sessions to come back through a time traveler and get back to the AG. It's like, he doesn't like Jeff Sessions. How are you gonna base your whole movement on loving Trump, and you love him so much that you don't even believe what he says because you think you're smarter than him? Because when he says something you don't agree with, you can't just admit that you guys don't agree. You have to flip it and say he secretly said what he didn't say. It's literally gone insane. Like, people are like, anomaly. When Trump says vaccine, he doesn't mean vaccine. Well, he means mRNA vaccine, which is kind of like gene editing. But yeah, when Trump says what I don't want him to say, he secretly says what I want him to say. That's called, like, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but like, some people say liberalism is a mental illness. Like, this is becoming a mental illness for right-wingers, where it's like, if you sat down with a shrink and they said, like, like, what do you believe? And you're like, I believe everything that Trump says, unless he says something I don't agree with, then I don't agree with him, because he has to constantly always agree with me. If Trump says what I don't want him to say, then I go from trusting Trump with my entire life to secretly understanding that he's doing a code that only I can understand, but Chrissy Teigen can't understand because I'm super smart and she's super dumb. And he's talking to me in codes, but only when he disagrees. If he agrees with me, he agrees with me. I mean, he's the most honest person we've ever had. I mean, everything he says is true until he says what I don't want to believe, then it's not true. So you get what I'm saying? Disinfo is necessary. And only I can understand the disinfo. The deep state can't fathom what the disinfo is. And if you want to be honest, I'm losing my mind. And I can't even understand what the disinfo is, because when you have someone who talks to you and says there's disinfo involved, it gets you questioning reality because you don't know it's real, you don't know it's fake, you don't know what to believe. So pretty much what you do is just believe what you want to believe and then say it's disinfo when you don't want to believe it. If you said that to a psychiatrist, they'd be like, you're full blown insane. So I legitimately feel bad for people who got caught in that. Is human trafficking real? Yes. Is child trafficking real? Is it a huge problem? Absolutely. But should you trust Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions because somebody on a message board told you to believe something, and you should believe everything that he says until he says something you don't want to believe, and then you don't believe it because it's disinfo? You're like a full-blown mental patient. And I feel like they've turned a lot of people into that, and I legitimately feel bad. So I mean, is there pros to it? Absolutely. It woke a lot of people up. But at a certain point, the cons became bigger than the pros, and people literally don't know what to believe anymore. If I came and said 60% of what I'm saying is true, 40% is fake, but I'm not going to tell you which part is fake because I want to throw off the deep state. So I'm not going to tell you what's true and fake because I have to throw off the deep state. But I'm just going to assume that you can understand when I'm telling the truth and when I'm lying, but the deep state can't, because your IQ must be 10,000 and the deep states must be 10. They're like literally the R word, and you're a genius. So you can understand this info, but they can't. So I'm just going to tell you a bunch of things, and you're going to have to decode it and figure out what's true or not. I mean, that's a way to like brainwash people. It's like, how do you know what you don't know what's true? So it becomes just a whole like movement of just waiting for things that are like, the goalpost is extended forever. It's like, if he's right, he's right. If he's wrong, he's purposely wrong. When's it going to happen? He gave no date. So it's like, you're pretty much just replacing Jesus Christ with Q and getting really confused when things don't work out the way he said they were going to work out. It's gotten pretty bizarre. But I honestly, personally, I think it started as somebody that loved Trump. I think it's somebody that loved Trump who was really optimistic, and they were really smart, and they were good at research. And then I think at a certain point they got so big and they played into it, and I think people played into it, and I think they led millions of people to think something that wasn't real. And now I guess they went dark again. They're probably embarrassed that their whole theory of what was going to happen never happened. So I don't know though. We'll see. Someone said, I think Q is Flynn. I mean, I think Flynn and Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood, they seem to like it, but I find it interesting because, you know, the Q stuff told everybody it's coming, just wait, just trust it, it's real. But if you follow Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood, they don't seem that confident. They don't seem like, oh, it's coming, don't worry. I think they're like, it's not happening. You know, we need to make it happen. So I like the fact that they're productive, but they don't exude like, oh, it's happening either way. It's like, they're like, it's not happening. Bill Barr's not doing it. So I feel like they like Q because it gives hope, but I don't know. I don't think it's them. I just think they like the whole, it's a good vibe for certain people. I get it. It's like, it's all going to happen. We're all going to win. Just, you know, I'm a patriot. Just believe whatever he says. It's a fun vibe for some people. So I think, you know, a lot of high profile people got lost in the sauce too, but you know, at least they're actually doing something. I like that Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell are literally doing something. But I do find it interesting that, you know, a lot of people got mad at Tucker, probably because it was the wrong time to do it. There was so much evidence and Tucker wasn't really covering the evidence. He just like gave a shot at Sidney Powell. But technically, you know, he was like, does she have proof of these millions of digital votes? I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when it's all ends up. Probably the wrong time to ask that question and not cover all the other stuff. But you know, at a certain point, you wonder what they're saying and what they have and whether they match up or not. Someone said, "Why did nothing happen with the Epstein situation?" I don't know. I'm not high level enough to tell you why nothing happened there. You'd have to ask Bill Barr or Trump. I can't really say. Someone said Tucker said lay off of Hunter Biden. I didn't see that, but I don't know. I think Giuliani's fine. Someone said something about Giuliani. All right. I stayed longer than I thought, but we'll end on a good note. Let's end on a good note, a fun note. Let's see. I think this is a fair comment. I'll read this. This won't be the last one, but I think Sonic said, I think Trump genuinely loves this country and wants to do right by us, but has surrounded himself with poor counsel that has led him astray. We need to pray for him and voice our concerns. I like that because I think, my problem with the theory that he's literally like the return of Jesus Christ, it's not like a jealousy or ego thing. Like, I like that people like Trump, but it's gotten to the point that they don't believe reality because they think he just secretly will do everything, when in reality, we should be voicing our concerns. So I think that's true. I think there's a lot of people think he's a setup from the beginning, maybe, but if you look at the way he did certain things, I think he got swamped from the beginning. I think anybody in his council that was going to make a difference, they tried to wipe out immediately. People like RFK Jr., people like Flynn, anybody that wasn't just a full-blown deep state person, they strategically kind of surrounded him. And I think, this year he just didn't do anything. So I think if we admitted that and voiced our concern in a genuine way, to me, that would get a lot more done. I don't like that. This is my pet peeve, is everybody just thinks it's always happening, where even RFK, I think it's a great example. RFK sued Trump and Trump still almost worked with him. Trump is not a soft guy. Okay. He's lived in New York City for 50 years. He's a hard-nosed businessman. So the obsession over him is the problem. It's like, you can like him, appreciate him, vote for him, in my opinion, but hold him accountable when he doesn't do something. This hallucination of, someone said I got stars back. Do I? I don't. Can you give me a star? You don't have to. I don't see them on my stream, but I don't think I did get the stars back. Maybe you're right. Let me look it up. But that's where I draw the line. I'm like, let's hold. I like to do it from a place of love. I don't like to go to Trump and say, F you, you're a deep state. I like to say, listen, I like you. Let's get the job done. To me, that's more effective because I don't look at him like the enemy. I'm just like, I'm not going to sit here and agree with what he's doing. I just don't have it in me. But if we come from a place of love, we can we can get something done. Ali Alexandra said, Ron Paul once said he felt a kinship with Bernie. Both sides are just looking for something real, misguided as they may seem. There's got to be a way, I hope, that people can hear where I'm coming from. Well, Ali, here's the interesting thing with Bernie used to be, in my opinion, he used to be a populist left-winger. He used to be against H-1B visas. Bernie's stance on working visas was more conservative than Trump's current stance. That's how far the Overton window. Oh, yeah, the stars aren't here. I think somebody lied. But anyway, the Overton window has shifted so far that Trump has a more left-wing stance on immigration than Bernie Sanders used to have. He used to not be so politically correct. He was like, there's too much mass immigration. He used to have a soul. Now he's just a phony, So at a certain point, I think Bernie probably was legit. And it's the same with Trump. It's like, I think at a certain point, he was trying to do more. But if Bernie's being a phony, we should call Bernie a phony. We shouldn't say Bernie is the best. It's like, no, he's a total phony. He used to be more honest. Now Trump, this year is a phony year. We don't have to pretend like this is cool. This isn't cool. We should step up to them, and then maybe they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. JR Angel said everyone needs to start coming up with their own plan, organize local Minutemen to support neighbors and small business owners. Absolutely. And on a national level, we're working on something. Ian Smith, the gym owner, is working on a website. I'm going to work with him and get that out to people. And also on my website, I'm going to have more tools and stuff. So we're going to help where we can. But yeah, we definitely have to do that. I'm going to read this real quick. Someone said Q has been correct about one thing after another over and over again. X22 report wasn't banned for not telling the truth. Well, here's what I find interesting, because I've said it multiple times with the Q stuff. I think they gave 50 to 80% truth, and then 20% of it was leading people in the wrong direction, telling them to wait, making up a theory and an excuse why it wasn't happening. A lot of the information that you read on there is genuine. You can go to articles, it's real. But they're combining it with a call to action. So it's like, if I gave someone the real information and I said, Here's the real information. Trust Bernie Sanders. Trust Bernie Sanders with your life. I'm a con artist. You get what I'm saying? That's what Q does. He gives you the real information. It says, trust Sessions, trust Bill Barr, trust Durham, trust Trump, trust that this is all part of my plan. And it turns you kind of like, it's like, yeah, it's not all fake. It's a lot of real stuff, but it's real combined with a fake call to action. As far as X22 report, I've never really watched that much. I've heard a lot of people, recommend it, and God bless him. But here's an interesting thing I heard Owen Benjamin said recently. He made a stream where he said that, Trump is like Zoolander. And I find it a very interesting comparison because they have the same type of like, I'm really, really good looking. I'm really, really good at business. They have that same type of vibe. But one of the best comparisons was Zoolander got all of his friends killed. Zoolander did the whole, like, I don't know if you guys seen the video, but he's like having a gas fight party. They're all fighting with gasoline, lights a match, and kills all his friends. I think Trump is the same. He gets all his friends axed. So all the Q people worship Trump. Trump did nothing for them, really, and just got them wiped off social media. So it's like, did X22 get wiped out? Yeah, all the Q people got wiped off YouTube. So they worship Trump and the GOP. The GOP condemned them, and then Trump got all his own friends killed. And that's the same thing that happened to his friends in 2016. Everybody who worked with him has been smeared or fired or arrested, like Roger Stone. And then you go to 2018, everybody who defends Trump gets wiped off social media. So he gets all his friends, I think, wiped out, and really never comes around and helps that much. But I get he's pardoned some people and such. I'm not trying to blame him for everything. But, I think the Q people, the big deception was they give you 80% truth. 20% of it is just scrambling people's minds. If you don't understand the simple construct of someone telling you disinfo is necessary and mixing it with 80% truth to the point where you literally don't know what to believe anymore because it's really true, but at a certain point it's not, but you know that the not true is purposely not true, you become a full-blown mental patient. And then you go to there, you start calling yourself that. Hey, I'm a QAnoner. And then you get wiped off social media. So you took a label that they were using to wipe you off. So you got almost nothing that you thought was happening. You got a lot of truth and a lot of confusion. And then the final product was you took on a label that got your whole channel axed on YouTube, and the president said nothing about it. The only thing that the GOP said about QAnoners getting wiped off of social media is they condemned. The GOP did a condemnation bill. So it's like, you worship Barr. Barr did nothing for you. You worship Jeff Sessions. He did nothing. You worship Durham. He might not even be real. He's like, got 2 images and no video. Trump has never even met him. So it's like you're worshiping people that are literally kicking you off social media. So I think that's the deception. It's like, it must be true because they got wiped off social media. What about a lot of it's true, a lot of it's confusing. It's like a giant goose chase that never ends. You made people complacent with the lockdowns. You secretly told them that there was a plan for it. And then the final result was not you getting invited to the White House. It was you getting wiped off social media and condemned by the party that you were supporting for 3 years. Trump is like Zoolander. He gets all his friends gasoline attacked. Christina Sykes said, I agree with you. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. It's a funny analogy. I know people don't want to hear it, but I find it very funny. And I'm going to repeat it again because people need to hear this. And I think from a basic psychological level, there's a lot of real information there. There's a lot of links. There's a lot of connections. Honestly, I agree with a lot of things that these people say. I'm not saying it's all fake. We have an overlap that's huge. It's like, I'm not a liar. So it's like, yeah, that's real, and real. But the whole mind control deception was, watch me. I'll tell you to wait. I'll tell you what government agents to trust. The government's going to save you. The white hats are fighting on your behalf, when in reality, it does seem like they got outnumbered. And then it told you that anytime I'm wrong, I'm not wrong because it's like a God character. You think Trump is God, you think Q is God, where it's like Q can't be wrong because when he's wrong, the disinfo is necessary. So they've scrambled your brain to literally just make it whatever you want it to be. That's what I started seeing. It's like you believe everything that Trump says until Trump doesn't say what you want him to say. Then you don't believe what he said because he's telling a lie for the deep state, but you can understand. If the deep state doesn't know what to believe, you don't know what to believe. If you know what to believe, the deep state knows what to believe. You're not smarter than the deep state. You're not like this wizard genius and they're like IQ 5 just drooling. If you don't know what to believe, they don't know what to believe. It's the same dynamic. So it's like, Why would, and then people are like, no, anomaly, you don't understand. It's a secret military intel. Why would the military need to tell you it's not secret if they told you? There's nothing secret. Well, they told me because they need to arrest them. Then it's the dumbest secret operation ever because they just told a message board and everybody shares it on Twitter. So it literally makes no sense. It's like they're giving you a lot of things that are accurate. It's like Fox News. They tell you what you want to hear, but when push comes to shove, they do nothing for you. It's like they stab you in the back when it matters. So is Fox News fake? Well, no, 90% of what you hear on Fox News is true, but it's like a layer of like you're only going so far. Q goes way deeper than Fox News, so everybody likes him because you're getting to the core of it, and you're like, wow, I never heard this before. This is all real. But then it's like the call to action after they give you the real information is a call to action to trust the person who is persecuting the person who gave you that information. You know, without WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, there is no QAnon. There's no Trump, to be honest. He probably helped Trump get elected. And Bill Barr doesn't like QAnon. But I mean, he doesn't like Julian Assange. But you're trusting a message board who tells you to trust the guy who would want to throw Julian Assange in jail. And you're trusting, you get what I'm saying? It's like, that's the disconnect. It's like, I followed these people because they've been so right about so many things. It's like, I'm sure they have, but I'm also sure that they've constantly dragged you along like a horse with a carrot telling you, haha, the lockdown, like you're celebrating, like, ha, these lockdowns are really good because Trump's going to come. The lockdowns are going to save my life because the Q guy on YouTube told me that before he got wiped out for liking Trump and Trump never did anything for him, he told me that this was all going to happen because it's a plan. It's like, what if none of your enemies get arrested? What if Podesta never got arrested? Would you realize then, or would you then be like, well, the guy on BitChute now tells me to wait 4 more years during Biden because the Durham report's going to get, it's like, you know, it's a never ending carrot race where it's like, yeah, a lot of the information is true, but the call to action is what's fake. It's like, just wait, just sit there. Don't live in reality. In reality, your First Amendment got taken away. In reality, churches got closed. In reality, beaches got closed. In reality, small businesses got closed. In reality, Trump is rushing an mRNA vaccine. In reality, all of this is happening, but you don't live in reality because you follow a message board who tells you, don't believe reality. I'll tell you a few things about human trafficking. I'll tell you about some evil celebrities. I'll give you some truth, and then I'm going to tell you to just sit and ignore reality, because the only way to get back freedom is to give it up. The only way to stop communism is to start communism. The only way to fight Big Pharma is to fund Big Pharma. The only way to fight Fauci is to work with Fauci. It's like, you get what I'm saying? The info's real, and then the call to action is fake. It's like, the only way to protect your Constitution is for 100 million patriots to say, no, I will not close down a beach. But you have millions of Q patriots saying, oh, the lockdown's good because the Vatican's getting arrested because there's the boat that's coming. But when Trump says vaccine, he secretly doesn't mean vaccine. And when he says Operation Warp Speed, I'm just going to assume that what he means is he's warp speeding the military to arrest Bill Gates when it comes time, because he's really just exposing Fauci by funding Fauci. And the only way to fight Bill Gates is to fund his companies and rush his vaccines faster than him, because it's all a 20-dimensional chess game that Q told me to believe. And I believe everything that he says, except for when he says something that I know is not true, then I don't believe it, because it's become a little mind control game where I just make believe anything I want to believe. If I say there's a unicorn, it's a unicorn. If Trump capitalizes vaccine, he means not vaccine. When he says it, he doesn't mean it. When he means it, he means it. Unless I don't want him to mean it, then he doesn't mean it. Nothing's real, but everything's real. It's all happening, but it's not happening, but only I could see it. But I could see it because they secretly showed me, but it's not a secret, because if they secretly show me, it's not a secret anymore. And I'm so secretive about it, I make a Twitter account to talk about it all the time because it's such a secret. So I tell all the celebrities about my secret so they cannot be prepared, because I'm prepared because I follow Q, but they're not prepared because they don't know what's going on, even though I tell them on Instagram every day. And I'm so loyal to Trump and the GOP that I got condemned by them and kicked off YouTube. So it must be real, because I lost my whole career over it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just keep trusting the plan. Someone says, stop, you're making me crack up. Well, that's good. Humor is good. Someone said, oh, brother. What's my thoughts on Tim Pool? I don't know. People want me to go to People want me to be on his live stream. My friend texted me that they want me to be on the show, but they're like, if you go to Tim Pool's show, you have to sleep over his house. I was I'm like, what is this, like third grade? I was like, if I go on Tim Pool's podcast, I have to sleep over in his house. I'm like, I don't want to go to Tim Pool's house. No offense. But it's like the only way to get on Tim Pool's channel is to sleep over. It's like, then I don't want to go. I'm not kidding. My friend literally said, he's like, I talked to Tim Pool's manager or something. I was like, oh, word. And he's like, Tim Pool's manager said, you could be on the show. I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, but you have to sleep over. I was like, then I don't want to go. Trust me. Yeah, I guess he lives in the middle of nowhere, so it's hard to get to. But I'm like, if I could get to there, I could leave. It sounds like it's like Hotel California. It's like once you get there, you can't leave or something. I'm like, I don't want to do that. If I can get there, I could leave and stay at a hotel somewhere. Even if it's an hour away, I'll drive. It's not that big of a deal. Like, the only way to be on Tim Pool's podcast is to get a sleeping bag and sleep over in the studio. It's like, yeah, I'll pass on that opportunity 10 times out of 10. But I don't know. I don't think everybody sleeps over. This is what I was told. And it's not through Tim Pool or his team. It's like my friend said he was talking to Tim Pool's team. He's like, you could get on, but you could sleep there. I'm like, I don't know who told you that. Are you making that up, or is it? I don't know if that's his rule or my friend was just telling me. I'm not blaming Tim or his team. It was like through the grapevine. It was like, I'm talking to Tim's team now, and the only way is to sleep. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to pass. I don't know who told him that, but I immediately got not interested. I'm like, I don't need any more attention. It's fine. Will there be hair braiding? No, that's creepy. It's very creepy. Someone said your friend was trolling you. Well, no, I think it's like it's so in the middle of nowhere that it's hard to get to and from. So they were suggesting I could maybe sleep over or something. I don't know if he heard that or if that's a thing, but yeah, I just was like, no, I'm good. Bring your sleeping bag. Yeah, no, it's gonna be a big no for me. Someone said, I don't see Alex Jones staying the night. There's no way he's making people stay there. I mean, this can't be a thing. There's no way everybody on his podcast had to sleep over, but I don't know why that was suggested to me. That there's no way Alex Jones slept over his house. I mean, maybe, but in general, I didn't even like speculate more. I was just like, it's gonna be a no for me, dog. I get uninterested really fast. Like, I have too much shit going on. So, if things get too much, I just drop it. And I don't mean to be mean, but it's like, I'm over it. Just let's leave it alone. Oh, someone said his streams end at 10:30, so it wouldn't be hard to drive to a hotel after. I don't know. I'm not trying to make up a rumor. This is what I was told, and I was immediately over it. It's not from Tim, though. It's from like a friend of a friend or something. Bill Barr's having a pool party. Yeah. Bill Barr's having a pool party in January, and at the pool party, all the celebrities are going to be there. So listen, there's a secret plan that only we heard, and everybody heard it, and it's out in the public, but only I know because I'm really smart. Bill Barr's having a pool party. Chrissy Teigen's going to be there. Ellen's going to be there, and they're going to think it's a pool party with Bill Barr. Just, hey, they think it's Bill Burr. You know Bill Burr, the comedian? We're going to tell them it's Bill Burr, but it's going to be Bill Barr. So they get there in their swimsuits, and Bill Barr's going to be there, and he's going to drop the hammer. You've been waiting for the hammer? Drop the hammer. Bill Barr's going to drop the hammer, folks, any day now. Just wait. Just ignore your Constitution being taken away. Just wait for the plan. The plan is to tank the U.S. economy and destroy hundreds of thousands of small businesses that will never get back. You need to do that to arrest Chrissy Teigen. There's no other way. You have to crush every restaurant in the country and destroy what their parents have built for over 100 years in order to arrest Ellen. There's simply no other way. I mean, you can't just arrest her for something she did. You have to kill every small business first. It's a simple plan. I mean, if you're not me and you don't read Q, you don't get it. It's very simple. I mean, and if you cry and complain you're losing everything, you're selfish. What do you not want them to get arrested? Are you in on it? Are you working with Mossad? If you don't want your small business to be destroyed, I mean, how dare you think that protecting the Constitution is important? I used to think that for 30 years until I read Q. And now I just think it's not that important because it's okay to give up. Never mind. He's going to drop the hammer. Someone said Barr's going to drop the hammer and sickle. That's what Bill Barr dropped the hammer, but he dropped it with the sickle. So he dropped the hammer and sickle. That's good. That is, who said that? That might be the best thing I read all day. Real welder, best comment of the day. Barr dropped the hammer and sickle. You know, we got bamboozled. Someone said it's good to laugh. I agree. Someone said Bill Barr is from the Bush era. He was never on the up and up. Yeah, but Rebecca, when you say that, you don't understand that I have secret Flynn intel. Flynn is cute. And I didn't even know who Flynn was 3 years ago, but now I think he's Superman. And if Flynn told me, how dare you suggest that Bill Barr is now my hero? I mean, he might be from the Bush era, but listen, I trust the plan. The hammer is coming. Big boom, cracking tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. It's coming. Just wait. Doesn't matter when it comes, it'll come. If it doesn't come, it's disinfo. And if it comes, I told you so. And then I get really arrogant about it. It's like, I told you it was real. Everything that ever happens is me and Q did it. Nothing happens outside of our watch. So if it happens, duh, you should have listened to me. If it doesn't happen, relax. It's going to happen eventually. Whenever. It doesn't matter when it happens. It could not happen. Then it's the disinfo. I told you the disinfo is coming. So nothing gets through our watch. We did it all. Every good thing that ever happens is Q. Everything that doesn't happen is just wait. It's so easy. It's so simple. All right. Tim Pool is Q, folks. Tim Pool is Q enough. He's been just gearing you up, just trying to lure you into his mansion. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm not going to read that comment. Bro, I thought you were done for the night. Yeah, I know. I came back, but it's okay. I'm having fun, so now it's not that stress. At first, I just hit a wall. I don't know. I looked at the screen, and it just got all crazy to me. Tim Kuhl, Qool. Tim Kuhl. Trust the flan. Trust the clan. Tim Kuhl. Someone said Tim hides a big Q. Tim hides a big Q tattoo under his beanie. That's why he wears the beanie. If he took off the beanie, you'd see a big Q, and then Tim would get banned off YouTube for being too real. That's so funny. Someone said change the subject. I don't know. I'm having a blast, so I really got to go eventually. I've overstayed my welcome. Let's get a GoFundMe for Anomaly taking over the media in all aspects. I have a Patreon. If you want to support, patreon.com/raretalk, but I'm fine. I'll let you know when I need money. When I'm poor on the side of the street, trust me, I'll have a GoFundMe. I'll be crying in a video, and I'll be like, I lost everything, guys. I bet it all on one horse. No, I'm good. But if you want to support, I have a Patreon, but I don't even promote it that much. I don't know. It's been a good year for me outside of all this BS. And I don't know. It's December. It's Christmas time. Spend money with your family and time. And then we'll come back in January, and I'll start heavily promoting Patreon again. I don't know. I'm not that worried about it right now. I'm just like, it's been a long year. I'm just like ready to get over with. And then I get my hats back in, and then we move forward again. Someone said Trump will hand over America to China. Will not hand over America to China. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We will see. I have another video I want to do. I feel like this is the part where a lot of people have a blind spot, but maybe I'll save it for the next video. I don't want to start a whole thing, and then it's going to be a whole thing, and then everyone's going to be like, well, what do you mean by that? And then I'm not going to be able to explain it, or else it takes too long. So I'll save it. We'll calm down. Someone said Tim Dillon. He's funny. I like his videos. I'm going to read this. I love you, your humor, your wisdom. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I had a good time. We turned this around. I was having a good time before. I just got like too much computer. But now I'm in here for 2 hours. It's okay. I'm going to, after this, I think tomorrow, I have to do a video though. I don't know. I don't want to stop. Maybe this weekend I'll take a break. If anyone deserves rest and relaxation, it's you. Thank you. Thank you, Masha. Keep up with the 2022-minute research, killing the world. Thank you, Masha. I appreciate you. Judith, thank you so much. All right, let's end on a really good note. I keep saying that, but one more good movement. I don't like to end in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to end because it's funny. But someone said William Cooper over Alex Jones. William Cooper is an interesting guy. I have his book. I've been reading it, and I've also been finding YouTube clips of what he's saying. Very interesting stuff, no doubt. I like Bill Cooper. Let me see. All right, we got to who wants to get a good last comment in? Let's see. We got to end. Someone said Christmas caroling. All right, one more. I appreciate you calling out the bullshit. Thank you. Aldous Huxley, classic author. I got it. Sorry, we got to end on a good note. Let's see. Ask everyone if they're okay. Hopefully everyone's okay. I don't know. Are we okay? All right, we'll just end this night. It's getting weird. All right, God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I appreciate y'all. And just a few things. If you're watching this, I did a first one and I got exhausted. They didn't kick me off, luckily, not this time. But I just got exhausted. I can't really explain it. I was just like, I need to go for a walk or something because I haven't been outside all day. Came back, finished it like a champion, and yeah, I'll probably take more breaks. Probably like a Sunday, take a whole day off or something. I don't do it because I enjoy what I'm doing, and I get caught in it just being on social media because I make stuff on social media. I guess when I'm on it, I'm like, let me do this. I have like 6 video ideas that I want to do. I still haven't done because I don't have the time. So I get so caught into it. I need to just take a full-blown break. That's why I'm going to go on a little rant real quick before I leave. That's why I love cruises, because when I used to go on cruises, I could put my phone down for a week or 2 weeks and like never touch it and just schedule posts. And they took away cruises from me. That alone, crime against humanity. Jail for life, forever, eternal jail for closing down cruises. Whoever made that decision to close down the cruise line, throw them all in jail. Lock them all up because they ruined my life. No, I'm just kidding. But in general, yeah, it'll be good. But YouTube, if you guys don't follow me on YouTube, please do, because Facebook has really cut my reach a lot. Like my videos used to get at the low end 200,000 views. Now they're getting 10,000, 20,000 views. It's not because they're not good. It's because Facebook's like just trying to destroy my page. But the live streams are good. They've still cut the reach a little bit, but that's fine. Overall, thank you for watching. But I would like, if you did subscribe on YouTube or Instagram, I'd appreciate that, or even Parler. I'm starting to build up that. My BitChute's getting bigger. So it's all love, because when Facebook took this away from me, my YouTube's been bigger. My Instagram's been way bigger. Now I get 200,000 views on Instagram, 300,000 views, 500,000 views. So I haven't lost that much, luckily, as far as reach because of that. So I'm still going to post on Facebook, but I don't post as much because they've just crushed my page. So I'm trying to figure out a strategy to do that. So someone said you were a microwave. Maybe. But in general, yeah, just follow on another social media if you can, because that's unfortunately what we're going to have to do. And I know a lot of you on Facebook have complained they've gone too far. Hopefully someone can put them back in place and they can unlock my page. Hopefully eventually they'll unlock it, maybe after this whole election cycle. Maybe they won't. I'm not sure. But in general, I'm glad that I still have the ability to do this. But follow me on YouTube if you don't do anything. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. My Instagram is DreamRare, DreamRare. Follow me on Instagram, and follow me on Parler, I guess, DreamRare as well. And hopefully nothing bad happens as far as censorship, because it's very annoying. All right. See you guys. Have a good day. I'll be back.